Had the backstage pass, of course, another day, another great slew of shows we have for you here, and of course, a great week of shows coming up here on the backstage pass, powered by the Sports Guys podcast.com, and of course, our friends at hightidecountry.net, our fabulous internet radio station out there just outside of Oklahoma City. Check us out on that platform as well. And countdown to kickoff. We're just about 5 weeks out. We'll do our football preview show with Greg Tepper of Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine. We'll talk high school football for the state of Texas, NFL, and college this coming Wednesday on our countdown to kickoff preview show. Looking forward to that because I can go 90-0 on that show and talk football all day long. As we're presented by our friends over at Bangtail Whiskey and Honky Tonk Texas. Pleased to welcome in one of my show favorites, the new single "Always a Girl" across all the digital platforms. Our good friend Matt Jordan to the show. Matt, what's up, man?
Not much, dude. Thanks for having me. Glad to be back.
Well, you pinched hit, man. I tell you, Colston had to do a little road tripping going on, and definitely appreciate you coming in. Didn't have you till mid-August, but definitely always good to come back here and catch up. So tell me, I mean, the single, obviously, I want to hit right off the top, and you'll play a couple songs for us today. But man, staying busy. I've seen the constant music grow out there for you, and I think the charts and radio have picked up on a few things too. And just kind of give us the latest on the Matt Jordan style of music and what's been going on.
Yeah, man. Been a busy year and a half. It's been a little while since we talked.
Mm-hmm.
But put out a ton of music, and I'm putting out a bunch more, and we're getting on the road and doing all that stuff. We released a full length album back in the fall, and then deluxe edition this winter, with 15 songs total. I think
Mm-hmm.
14 or 15 songs total, and just kind of started the release cycle for my next project that's coming out before too long, and doing a single like every 5 weeks, just trying to stay
Mm-hmm.
in front of people and get the music out there, man.
Tell us, definitely appearances, everything, get in front of people, no doubt.
Hmm.
June, actually, you guys, Anyone But Me came out, which I thought was fantastic. Kind of give the audience a little bit of a little backstory on kind of where that one came from, and then we'll talk about the latest single.
Yeah, man, thank you. Anyone But Me was kind of the first one in this release cycle that we did, and it's a song idea that I had for a long time. It's I can outrun anyone but me, and it's
Mm-hmm.
just kind of I've always kind of been a restless person, and it's just kind of something I battle all the time, trying to find that line between complacency and contentment. And I think anyone but me was kind of the angst in that battle coming out of. I have this tendency to. Well, I try not to, but it does happen sometimes where my restlessness will kind of be aimed at the wrong people or things, and
Mm-hmm.
I burn bridges that don't need burning, and hurt people I don't need to hurt, and things like
Mm-hmm.
that. So that was kind of the angsty side of that restless feeling that I deal with all the time.
You got a lot of grit growl in your tunes, and I love it too because it fits you, and nobody sounds like you. You just sound like Matt Jordan, at least the way that I feel when it comes to your music, which is awesome too out there. But tell me about growing up, and I know we've probably talked about this before, but just kind of remind the audience a little bit as far as people you grew up listening to on the radio, some of that '90s country until probably early 2000s.
Yeah, man. I mean, I grew up on my dad's music, so that was
Mm-hmm.
everything from Bruce Springsteen and the Eagles and Bob Seger and Jackson Brown to Garth Brooks and George Strait and Brooks and Dunn and Shania Twain. It was a lot of '90s country and 70s and '80s kind of American rock. That's kind of where I learned to write songs. I think was the stuff that
Mm-hmm.
I grew up on. And my dad was always really intentional when he would play me a song. Instead of being like, "Hey, listen to this cool guitar solo," he'd always call out, "Hey, listen to this line or listen to this verse." Or
Mm-hmm.
so I was always listening to songs based on how they were written, not necessarily what they sounded like. So from a young age, I just kind of gravitated to the writing. When I picked up guitar and started playing, it kind of felt like I should write songs because
Mm-hmm.
I kind of grew up more as a songwriter than I did a performer or guitarist or singer. And it's really shaped what I do. I call the music that I make Heartland rock.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's closer to Mellencamp and Springsteen and
Sure.
guys like that than it is most modern country. But I'd also make the argument that if John Mellencamp came out today, he'd get bucketed in the country genre.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no doubt. And you got, like I said, that little bit of your own kind of style there, the feel, the Heartland country too. Let's talk about this latest single that we'll have you play it for us, which is fantastic. I think it's got its own vibe out there, its own feel. Top 10 at radio. If I put my stamp on it, if I have an opinion, which I guess in the media I do now. Always a Girl, which is really doing some cool things out there since a couple of weeks ago, maybe 2.5 weeks ago, July 7th,
Hmm.
when it came out across all the streaming platforms. Get a little backstory on it, and so far the audience is resonating with it.
Yeah, man, that's I'm glad to have that one out in the world. It's we got to play a lot of really cool shows last year, more than I've ever played in my career, and to bigger crowds and things like that. And I think that, kind of the genesis of Always a Girl was getting off the road a little bit last year and kind of figuring out what does and doesn't work in a live setting. And I have this tendency to be a little bit too introspective in my writing process a little bit. And I write a little bit more personal than I write personal in a way that maybe alienates people. And so coming off the road last year, I was very intentional in going into this new cycle of songs that we needed some stuff that was fun and everyone could relate to. And not every moment live has to be a heartbreaking, introspective moment. Sometimes people are just there to have a good time. And that was the intent behind Always a Girl. And it was an idea I had in my phone for a long time. I keep all my notes and, all my song ideas in my phone, and sat down to write one night, and it just kind of started flowing. And I wrote that one by myself, which I don't often do anymore. I write almost everything with somebody. But when it hits, so I just chased it.
Well, we're going to hear it now too, and it's a great rendition of it too. I got to hear Matt do a little bit of it pre-show, kind of behind the scenes too, so it's going to hit you loud and clear here on the Backstage Pass. Check us out on hightidecountry.net, and of course powered by the Sports Guys podcast.com. Countdown to kickoff, about 5 weeks away for the NFL, of course, college football and high school. Matt, it's all yours, brother. It's Always a Girl.
All right, man, here we go. Maybe a party, couple of drinks. It's usually a Friday or Saturday night. It's usually a band, it's usually a dance floor, usually you're some kind of pickup line. Don't matter the place, don't matter the time, 'cause there's always a girl, always some small talk, always a shot in the dark. Long walk across that room gets to spinning, hands get to shaking, you're taking a deep breath, trying to calm your nerves. Yeah, there's always a girl. Yeah, there's usually a car parked in the back, keys in your hand. She's usually got that look in her eye. Usually run out the back door, head for the highway. I've heard it a million times. There's always a girl, always some small talk, always a shot in the dark. And a long walk across that room gets to spinning, hands get to shaking, taking a deep breath, trying to calm your nerves. Yeah, there's always a girl. Yeah, there's usually you leaning under a porch light, maybe your first kiss, you play your cards right, buddy, that'll leave you wondering when you're gonna see her the next time. 'Cause there's always a girl. Yeah, there's always a girl. Yeah, there's always a girl, always some small talk, always a shot in the dark, and a long walk back to your car. Get to thinking, how the hell she sneak in and wreck your world. Yeah, there's always a girl. Yeah, there's always a girl. Yeah, there's always a girl. Yeah, there's always a girl.
Love the song idea there. Always a Girl from Matt Jordan here on the Backstage Pass. The latest single came out July the 7th. And of course, can't wait to see what is next. We'll come back here in a little bit here and talk a little bit more about the Gamble, the deluxe edition, which came out February 17th. Some cool songs on there too that if you have not heard, it will definitely resonate with you with some cool life stories too. And like I said, Matt's one of a kind, writing his own stuff out there and doing his thing, his style of music too as well. Definitely. So make sure you check out all that across all these streaming platforms. We'll come back, hightidecountry.net, and powered by the Sports Guys podcast.com. A word from our sponsors. Stay tuned. More with Matt Jordan. It is the Backstage Pass. Hang tight.
The Bangtail Pour is comprised of a sweet corn mash base. The front has a subtle sweetness and not too sharp. It has notes of a medium char or white oak for a smoky flavor in the middle, and the tail has a super smooth and warm finish.
Go behind the scenes with some of the biggest artists in music today with the Backstage Pass, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. Join Brandon Morrill and his co-host Kirsty Krause as they talk to rising stars and legends about their music careers. Listen to their latest tracks and learn fun facts about the men and women behind the music you love. And be sure to tune into the Backstage Pass Monday through Friday from 3:30 to 6:30, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. And welcome into the Backstage Pass. And back on the show again, Matt Jordan. It is the Backstage Pass, again, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com, and, of course, presented by our friends at Bangtail Whiskey, and, of course, Honky Tonk Texas. Check them out, honkytonktexas.us, for the latest concert schedule. They just had the legend Johnny Lee there the other night, sold-out show. And, of course, Bangtail.com, EasyLiquor.com for your liquor needs today there from Bangtail Whiskey. Go out to Live Oak in Nashville. Check it out there at the bar, of course. Play some watchers, have a good time. Always love drinking with our friend Brandon Bing at Bangtail Whiskey. And, of course, HighTideCountry.net, internet station out of Oklahoma. You catch our show there every day you tune in, including shows you may have missed. Always a Girls, the latest single from Matt Jordan. And, of course, hey, we got to dive into this because I really love this album. We were talking about before the show, the Gamble Deluxe Edition. Let's kind of hit on some highlights for me when you guys put out. You love to write your own stuff. I know you mentioned that too, and you're very good at it too, which I love. These particular songs. Call Me Crazy was one that did it for me on there, and a lot of selection. 14 songs, man. Really good stuff to get out to country music fans.
Yeah, man. I think that, I do write everything by myself. There's one song on the album, on the Gamble album, that I didn't write. My co-writer, Jarrett Hartness, wrote that on his own, and he had sent it to me when we were starting to get to know each other, and it was my story. It was his story. And I just felt like it needed to be on the album. But, yeah, man, we did, I think it was 11 songs on the original version. And then we did 3 more as a deluxe. And, it was really fun writing that album. I'd released a lot of singles before that album, that were kind of had lives of their own. And, that was the first time I've ever intentionally sat down writing for an album. And, it was a really different process doing it that way. And we kind of, when you look at an album, it's kind of, what are we trying to say here? What are the stories here? And the Gamble was fairly autobiographical, honestly. It was, hey, if this is going to be my first full album, let's make it my story, and let's tell the stories that have kind of made me who I am. So that was our goal with that, and I think it landed pretty well. I'm really happy with the final product, and it felt great to release a full length.
Yeah, you should be. And, of course, those songs that really made it stand out there toward the end, I think there was really two right off the hand. Breakdown, let's start with that one, too, because that really was the added version of the 3 songs there that came out on the deluxe. But Breakdown, man, I want to know all about that one, too, as far as just a song that really resonated with me.
Yeah, man, I appreciate that. That's one that gets overlooked a lot because it's kind of deep, But I wrote that song years and years ago, and it was telling my story. I was kind of a mess for a while there, and then I found Jesus, and I'm still a mess, but I at least have grace now. And that was kind of what that song was about. And it was special to me because it was so personal, and I wanted to get it out into the world, but I didn't know exactly what that looked like. It's not a song that you just kind of put out in the world when you're trying to make a name for yourself. And when we decided to do the deluxe edition of the Gamble, with it kind of being stories about my life, I felt like it was time to put that song out. And I'm really glad I did. I've had a number of people reach out on social media saying that, that song has become their anthem as they've gotten sober or found Jesus or came back to their wife or whatever. And it's like, man, I didn't realize the weight of it, but that's what we do it for. We write songs to connect with people, for them to live through our stories. And I'm really glad that one's on there. It's a really special one to me.
Yeah, I love that you talk about, writing your own stuff and that kind of thing. Talk about co-writing too, because a lot of people have the ideas they kind of step in the room with, the chance to work with somebody new that they know or may not know, or getting to know during the co-writing process. What do you enjoy most about that collaboration side of it?
Oh man, it's just synergy. When you find the right people, 1 + 1 = 3 instead of 2, and it's like, it's something you can't do on your own. Like Jarrett Hartness, who I wrote the Gamble with, and a lot of the songs on that record, and a lot of the songs that are coming, he and I write together all the time, and we've done it enough that we know how each other work. And I know that when I come up with a good idea in my mind, I'm going to do it better if Jarrett's in the room, or Justin Dukes or Dustin Herring or one of these other guys I write with. We just do it. They just take it to another level. They think of things that I wouldn't think of, and they hear melodies that I wouldn't hear. And, when you're with the right person in writing and you have a trust and a respect for the other person's craft, I think you're willing to just step in and say, here's what I'm hearing, here's what I'm thinking. And when you have two people firing on all cylinders like that together, it's going to be better than one, So most songs I try to co-write, because that extra perspective just adds something that I can't do on my own.
I got to watch a little bit of that show last week with the CMA Fest, the 50th anniversary that they did. And of course, the hosting of the job that Laney and of course, L King and Dirks did hosting that and putting out some great music. I'd say, the industry, man, it feels stronger than it has maybe in 10 or 15 years. I think with this women's kind of movement, of course, Luke Combs doing his thing and other great singers out there, yourself included. Did you get to partake in CMA Fest this year and kind of catch some of the shows that they previously recorded last week? Because I think there's some great tunes out there, both on a kind of a duet, maybe threesome side of things, and a lot of great singles out there.
Yeah, I didn't get to be a part of it this year. I'm hoping to be a part of it next year. But there was some great stuff, and I wish I wasn't in Nashville for it. I wish I had been, because there were some good shows for sure.
So some artists right there, like I said, man, just getting some great music in their hands, and I thought there were unique collaborations off of the show last week with we'll see in the one Miranda Lambert, Avril Lavigne. I never would have pictured those two together. And then just coming up with some great tunes that, you got 50,000 people in the Titans home that you can kind of feel that it's just great music. But it seemed like every singer that stepped out there on stage, man, it almost felt like a return to glory after all the crap we went through for the past 3 years.
Yeah, it did. And I feel like, I don't know if you've noticed this or not, but it seems like there's been a lot more like collaboration in country music in the last couple of years, which I think has been super cool. And I think it's been really cool to see bigger artists like, Morgan Wallen and Luke Combs and some of those guys, like kind of giving a platform to some of these up and coming guys, and, Hardy and Ernest and that whole camp. Like, it feels like more of a community than it has in the last 5 or 10 years. And honestly, I think a big part of that is like coming out of COVID, everyone wants to be together and do things together. And I think it's been really good for the industry in that way,
It definitely is. Definitely the shutdown was something we never thought we'd see in our lifetime, but still, man, it's feels good to be back and watching you guys do what you do best on stage. Well, I'll tell you what, the Gamble is out there across all the digital platforms, and of course the single Always the Girl. So make sure you guys go download that and check him out. I believe it's still mattjordansongwriter.com. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. You got it.
Make sure we got the website there. So there you go. Homework here on the Backstage Pass. Very important for those who want to get into media in the future there too as well. Do your homework, no doubt about it. We'll come back after a break. Matt's going to perform one more for us here on the show. And of course, we'll ask about a couple more tracks off of the Gamble before we get into our rapid fire, get to know kind of what's been going on lately. Is there hunting, fishing, sports watching? You never know what's going to come out of the rapid fire segment here on the Backstage Pass, powered by the Sports Guys podcast.com. And of course, check us out, hightidecountry.net, presented by our friends at Bangtail Whiskey. Hang tight, coming back more with Matt Jordan here on the show. Stay tuned.
The Bangtail pour is comprised of a sweet corn mash base. The front has a subtle sweetness and not too sharp. It has notes of a medium char or white oak for a smoky flavor in the middle, and the tail has a super smooth and warm finish.
Go behind the scenes with some of the biggest artists in music today with the Backstage Pass, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. Join Brandon Morrill and his co-host Kirsty Krause as they talk to rising stars and legends about their music careers. Listen to their latest tracks and learn fun facts about the men and women behind the music you love. And be sure to tune into the Backstage Pass Monday through Friday from 3:30 to 6:30, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. And welcome into the Backstage Pass. And back here with Matt Jordan, it is the Backstage Pass. Also check us out, hightidecountry.net. And of course, definitely out there too. Hear a lot of great independent artists play some great songs on hightidecountry.net. Also Nightwave Radio as well out there, Oklahoma City, and the SportsGuysPodcast.com. Tomorrow, good friend Joey Greer going to stop by. We'll talk a little Texas country. Wednesday, great show. Jillian Cardarelli coming by, and another up-and-coming teen artist out there, Victoria Rose, on Thursday before we kick off next week with another great slew of shows out there too. Grant Gilbert going to stop by. Aaron Goodvin, a tremendous songwriter going to come on the show coming up next week. He's written a lot of great hits in Nashville, Tennessee. Everybody knows, if you know music, you know who Aaron Goodwin is on the Backstage Pass. Back here with Matt Jordan at hightidecountry.net and the sportsguys podcast.com. Well, I tell you what, I'm going to turn it over to you. A lot of great songs that you've put out. Of course, I know there's new stuff around the corner. We're going to talk about some of these songs off the Gamble Deluxe Edition, but what are we going to hear?
Yeah, man, I figure since we're talking about the Gamble album, I'll just go ahead and play you the title track.
There we go. Love it.
You don't mind. Never was a betting man, but doubled down and went all in. Place my future right on you. Stakes were high, the chips they fell. I learned a lesson all too well. Sometimes you're just born to lose. And everybody told me I'd find the right left hand, but you folded on me in the end. So here I sit with nothing left, a broken heart and a aching head. Still ain't over you yet. A wild card like you is hard to handle, and all I've got to show is the thrill of the gamble. Chalk it up to my luck. I never thought to call your bluff. The Queen of Hearts made a joker out of me. And deal of deals and play of plays. Loving you's a loser's game. Oh, but I still can't believe it. 'Cause everybody told me I had finally found the right left hand, but you folded on me in the end. So here I sit with nothing left but a broken heart and an aching head. I still ain't over you yet. A wild card like you is hard to handle. And all I've got to show is the thrill of the gamble. Well, I'm still at the table, nothing left to hold. From the highest of highs to the lowest of lows. A wild card like you is hard to handle, and all I've got to show is the thrill of the gamble.
Brother, like I said, you cut deep with a knife there too. Love that one when it comes down to it here on the title track off the deluxe edition there from Matt Jordan on the Backstage Pass, powered by the sportsguys podcast.com, and of course presented by our friends at Bangtail Whiskey in Honky Tonk, Texas. The title track there, boy, just love it. It tells a great story and a lot of life involved in a song like that too, man, which telling some true stories. Tremendous writing. And
Thank you.
The gamble, no doubt. Hey, let's break down a little bit My Own Two Hands. I wanted to get kind of the full story on that one too as well.
Yeah, man, that was one kind of like Breakdown. It's a song I wrote several years back and just didn't know where to put it. And I wrote that one with my buddy Charlie Berry, who's a great artist in his own right in Nashville. And he was kind of the first, what I would consider a really good songwriter, kind of take me under his wing. He's a couple years older than I am. And when I didn't have anything going on, he saw something and believed in me and asked if we could start writing. And that was only our second or third write together, and he's been doing music for a while. I've been doing it for a while, and we were just kind of sitting there talking about the discouragement that comes with it, and just kind of spend a lot of time banging your head against a brick wall in this industry, and we just talked about it, and nothing was coming, and we went to lunch and kept talking about that and just kind of encouraging each other. And we got back from lunch, and, we're 6 or 7 hours into the ride at this point. We haven't written a word yet. And then we came back to his studio, and that song came pretty quick once we kind of landed on the idea for it, and it was just kind of two independent artists out there chasing a crazy dream saying, hey, we're going to figure out a way to make this thing go. And that's what that song was,
Good stuff, no doubt. And off the record too, I mentioned the title earlier too, but this Call Me Crazy was one of my favorites off the record there too, to listen to or kind of get a little workout into. Definitely if you're running, walking, that kind of thing in the morning, which I tend to do, get the miles in and always try to get up and hit the pavement, hit it running. But Call Me Crazy was one that kind of had that message, I guess, in taking life's risk or life's moments. But there's so many different renditions. I love it, but yours kind of hit it on the head for this particular tune.
Yeah, that one was that was a title and a hook that I'd had for a long time. But my co-writer on that, Jarrett, who I mentioned earlier, he kind of drove the ship on the story of that song. And it was loosely based on a true story for him and someone from his past about kind of, you don't have to call me baby, but you can't call me crazy for thinking there's something here, And I had someone like that back in college as well. So we kind of channeled that. And I think it's something that a lot of people can relate to. Everyone's kind of got that person that they know isn't good for them. And they're kind of dancing around something all the time and never fully taking the plunge, but it's there,
Yeah, no doubt too. And then another one on there too, off the record, The Gamble, Love Was Enough. Tell us all about this one.
Yeah, man, that is that's one I wrote with Jarrett as well. And the songs that I love the most are, I'm a nostalgic guy. I just love nostalgia. I love something that can transport me back in time. And Jarrett and I wrote that one together, kind of talking about that time in our lives, when you're 17 or 18 and you think you know everything there is to know, and all you need is a four wheels and a girl next to you, and there's a beauty in that simplicity. Obviously, you get old enough and you realize it's not really all there is to the world, but there's beauty in the innocence in the simplicity of that thought. And it's a pretty magical time, looking back. I'm like, I wish I'd appreciated how simple everything was back then, so that's kind of where we were coming at. I think everyone's kind of got that season of their life that they've been through. And that's kind of what we were writing about with that one.
Yeah, we all think we miss 17, 18, how simple it was. And yet 25 and 30, and you're like, what was I missing? I mean, it wanted to go by fast to become an adult. But, man, I just a car and, like I said, a girl, or like I said, it really hit home how simple things were back in
the day. Man. I thought it was so hard back. I thought high school was so hard and college was so hard. And I look back and I'm like, shoot, what was I trying to fast forward for?
Hey, if we could do it all over again, some people would say yes, some would say no. But I don't know. It's right. Just would rewind there. But now I guess being a parent of my own too, it's kind of like, well, I don't want, like I said, my daughter to make the same mistakes I did, or it's kind of, just live life, but she's going to grow up, be her own person and make her mistakes and have to go through those life stages. But when she gets about maybe 14, 15, maybe things will slow down. And when she gets old enough, I'll be able to play a tune like that for her and say, don't grow up too fast.
That's it, man. It's like, I've got kids too, and I'm married, and I wouldn't go back to 17 if I could right now, but
no,
I do realize how simple it was and how I didn't appreciate that back then,
There's no doubt about it too. Well, The Gamble's out there across all the digital platforms. Make sure you guys go download, stream that. And of course, the latest single we've talked about today, Always a Girl, which is more coming. Tell me about the rest of 23. I know you guys were mentioning singles to come out and things like that, but kind of feels like there's this, movement for all these great tunes. And after Always a Girl, I'm sure there's just more to kind of smoke out, like you said, with singles there and just pitch a lot of great music out there to the fans.
Yeah, man, we got 4 or 5 more songs left coming this year as singles, and then we'll do a full project next year, early next year. Playing a lot of live shows around the Midwest primarily right now. We're with Granger Smith in Marion, Illinois on Thursday, and with Cassie Ashton in Columbia, Missouri in a couple weeks, and on a festival down there in a couple weeks. And just always booking and adding shows, and we're really kind of focused. I'm from St. Louis, and we're just kind of focused on owning the Midwest and trying to really build something here. Got to play some really cool shows in the last year, and we're trying to double down on that.
And then when you talk about those shows too, you played within the last years. There are some good memories of people you got to support, a supporting act out there too. Some great concerts and audiences you got to play for. Talk about that over the last year.
Oh yeah, well, we got to open for Chris Lane in my
Mhm.
hometown in St. Louis at a venue called The Pageant, which is just it's where I fell in love with live music, and so ever since I kind of decided to chase this thing, I've wanted to get on that stage, and getting to do that last year was pretty incredible. That was a career moment for sure. That's one I'll never forget.
Mhm.
Got to open for some really good people, man. Parmalee Lanco, Chase
Mhm.
Matthew, who's one of the nicest people I've ever met. His camp was great to us. Got to open for Kip Moore in Columbia, Missouri, which I probably wouldn't ever moved to Nashville if I hadn't heard Kip Moore's first record. He was just really influential on my writing and kind of what I do and the way he approaches his career and things like that. So that was a bucket list kind of thing to get to open for him. And his crew was really great to us as well. They came and introduced themselves, and we've gotten to do this thing enough times with big name touring artists where
Mhm.
you kind of figure out not everyone's going to go out of their way to meet you, and so it's always appreciated when we were kind of sitting backstage while they were sound checking. When they got done sound checking, Kip came down and introduced himself to all of us and
Mhm.
offered us beer and water off their bus. And you just appreciate that. It's for me, I take that stuff as kind of a lesson of how to conduct yourself as things grow.
No doubt too, and like I said, always giving back to the ones there because they had a starting point, just as everybody else does now as independent artists. And like you said, what to do and kind of what to learn and kind of how to conduct yourself as a pro. No doubt about it too, which you've done in all your music. And I congratulations on all the great success out there too. All right, time for a little fun here. I know being from St. Louis, I got to ask you about this because we're just a few days away from this thing called a trade deadline in Major League Baseball. And there's like a guy, or maybe two guys now, with the Cardinals that I want to get my hands on being a Stros fan here in Texas when it comes down to it. Now, were you growing up, and I remember maybe you said this, maybe you didn't in a previous episode, but were you a diehard Cardinal fan?
I've never been a diehard baseball fan in
Okay.
general. I like baseball. I love going to Cardinals games, and when
Okay.
they make the playoffs, I watch them in the playoffs. I watch a couple games throughout the season.
Hmm.
It's just a long season to follow, man. I can do football. I can do basketball. Baseball's hard to get invested in for me until later in the season, and the Cardinals have been less than great lately.
Yeah.
So
It's,
not been an exciting year to follow them.
no, not this year. Could be sellers at the trade deadline next week on Tuesday,
Yeah.
August 1st at 6 Eastern, 5 Central, no doubt, too. Got to ask you about, other sports, NFL. I mean, of course, the St. Louis team, not there anymore, out in Los Angeles, too, with the Rams. And who's your team, NFL, and do you pay attention a little bit to college?
Philadelphia Eagles have become my team.
Okay.
I can't root for LA because I don't like how Kroenke handled all that. I personally, a lot of people became Chiefs fans when the Rams left St.
Mhm.
Louis. And the Chiefs are fine, but I really like Jalen Hurts. I love how he
Mhm.
conducted himself when he was at Alabama and then over to Oklahoma and with the whole Carson Wentz thing at Philadelphia. I like how he's carried himself and handled his career. So I pull for Philadelphia over most teams now. Um, I follow college a little bit, again, like Mizzou football has not been the most exciting football program, probably since the switch to the SEC, I suppose.
Mhm.
They were fun to watch in the Big 12 years ago, but it's been a while since that. But I do like to. I mean, there's nothing better than Saturdays watching college
Oh,
football. I just don't really have a team that I pull for all the way.
well, here's to Philly. Like I said, Jalen, the new contract, and of course, Super Bowl, making it with the records and all the, like I said, the stats he put up there. And the Chiefs just a little bit better, a little bit more ahead there in Super Bowl 56. So I expect the Eagles to be right there for Super Bowl 57 in contention there in the NFC East. And of course, right there too as well. I got to win the division over the Cowboys at the same time. And at the same time, we'll see how the NFC kind of stacks up this year. And I was with you. I really didn't like that move when St. Louis went out west and got to Los Angeles. I wasn't in favor of what Kroenke did to either.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. It's a business. It's a bigger market. I
Mhm.
understand, but it was just the way he did it. It wasn't. It could have been done better, I think.
Oh yeah.
But it is what it is.
Well, and he got his first NBA championship this year too. Thank
Yeah.
goodness, new blood got to win with the Denver Nuggets. He owns them
Yeah.
too as well. So,
Yep.
congrats to him. It's business, it's money, it's marketing, all that good stuff out there too. And
Yeah.
then LA gets two teams, and of course now you look at Las Vegas getting a baseball and already got a football team. So it's
Yeah.
craziness how these teams can. And I think as professional sports, it's all about money, no doubt about it, with the players and
Yeah.
the owners. But you look at expansion in baseball now, trying to go from 30 to 32, NFL from 32 to 35 over the next 5 to 10 years. You're going to see cities, and I hope Nashville is actually one of those cities that gets pro baseball. I know the Sounds have become a really cool attraction there, but I really hope that Nashville gets what Vegas is going to get in a pro baseball team. That'd be fun for that town.
I would think Nashville would be a great town for that. I mean, what they do with the Sounds there, if you can do that with a minor league team,
yeah.
I mean, it would be. I think an MLB team would do great in Nashville, and that city's grown so much. You know, like, yeah, I think it'd be really cool if they got a team.
I was talking to a buddy of mine the other day. He said that he was traveling up to Montreal and right there in Canada, and how the Expos used to be there back in the 90s. And look at 94, they could have won it all too at the same time. And I was like, Montreal's right there kind of with Nashville. They still had the old Olympic Stadium, probably would build a new ballpark up there too. But I think Montreal would be a good fit again for a professional baseball or professional sports team beside the Canadians up there too. So this is
yeah, that's just the Canadians, isn't it?
That's it for now. Yeah,
I didn't realize that, man.
And you got the Canadian Football League, and it escapes me now. I think it's Alouettes, Montreal Alouettes, I believe it is up there for CFL. I got to go to my first CFL game.
Oh yeah,
probably 4 or 5 years ago. That was pretty cool when they were. It was in Edmonton. They were known as the Eskimos at the time. And now was it Commonwealth Stadium? I think it was Commonwealth. Anyway, one of the big marquee stadiums up there in Edmonton, 50-yard line seats, and I can't remember what they changed their team name to now. But you learn all the different rules, and they only have 3 downs instead of 4, and kind of playing the game at a faster pace, spreading out receivers and offensive linemen kind of moving, and just the formations that they use in the CFL. And like I said, kind of the goalpost being instead of the back side of the 10 yards in the end zone, it's kind of at the front. Or kind of mid front there where the goalposts are there too. So it's a really cool feel when you watch a little bit more up tempo offensive game there for the CFL.
How's the turnout at those games?
They did pretty good. They would get anywhere from probably 25 to 40 given to the opponent, that kind of thing, per night. So I'd say
that's
doing pretty good there too, selling tickets that were affordable for people, and just a great family outing to bring a family to, which is you can
that's
afford.
awesome.
Stuff like that, plus the food. I can't remember the Edmonton, and it's escaping me right now. I have to get that when I get off the air. But it was the Eskimos at the time, and of course they changed the team name. And I want to say there's probably 8 to 12 CFL teams now for Canadian Football League. And if you ever get a chance to go, I was just like right place, right time. Buddy of mine up there got tickets. He says, "Come on out." So we did all that too as well. Hey, let me ask you about when you guys are on the road, Matt. What's the kind of the go-to food? Where do you guys stop in at?
Oh man, it's always junk. I mean, like there's one of the guitarists in my band doesn't eat meat, so Taco Bell's got like a potato bean thing that he eats. So we do a lot of Taco Bell. But if I'm on the road, I'll try to do something fairly healthy if I can, like Subway or Jimmy John's. Get something with a little bit of protein or something nutritionally beneficial.
Hey, do you remember this may take some thought here, the first song you ever sang live on stage?
Danny California by the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Oh, look at that, man. Just nailed it right off. I took a swing.
Well, you don't forget the humiliating moments of your life.
I love that too as well. Hey, man, this album is fantastic. I love it. The Gamble, and of course, Always a Girl, the latest single, across all the digital platforms, and guys, wherever you download or stream music, it's there. Matt, looking forward to hearing from you again, my friend. And all the new music comes out, feel free to come back here anytime on the platform. Always enjoy our conversations, and definitely best of luck the rest of 23, no doubt.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate you having me.
You got it. MattJordanSongwriter.com for the latest tour dates, and of course, Always a Girl across all those digital platforms. Another show coming up today here on the Backstage Pass. We're doing the Texas 3-step, not the 2-step today. And of course, next week we'll have some great shows. Jillian Cardarelli coming on this week, Joey Greer tomorrow, Heath Wright from Ricochet here in a few weeks too as well. We'll talk about their new album coming out and a whole lot more here on the Backstage Pass, powered by the Sports Guys Podcast.com and presented by our friends at Bangtail Whiskey and Honky Tonk Texas. And of course, check us out at HighTideCountry.net. We'll see you guys soon.